Hi guys, Darth Deuces here back with another video and another of my top 10 of 2024 videos. I'm going to be counting down on my top 10 favorite Star Wars The Black Series releases of 2024. My rules are just the figures have to have been released in 2024 or really late in 2023, where most people, including myself, probably didn't get them until 2024. Have to own it, obviously, and then that's pretty much it. But I think this year was a good year for Black Series. I don't think it was crazy, though. I think last year was way cooler, at least for me. I think this year still a lot of really solid releases, but there's also a lot of stuff I wasn't super interested in. I didn't pick up much of the Acolyte stuff. I know the Skeleton Crew stuff just came out not that long ago, but I barely picked up anything from that so far. There's a bunch of other stuff I didn't get. I didn't end up getting the Droideka. I know that's a lot of people's favorites from this year. I didn't get it, one, because it actually wasn't easy to find, and two, I don't have the room to even display it, so I just didn't really feel like there's much point of buying it if I can't display it. So I didn't get that either, so that won't be on the list. If I did have it, it probably would have been. But yeah, I don't know, just a lot of releases I was like didn't care much for, or a lot of releases where like I was willing to wait for them to go on sale. At one point, until maybe probably quite late in the year, I actually didn't think I was going to have enough Black Series figures to even do a top 10 for this year, but I ended up getting enough. I am trying to slow down the line a little bit, try to cherry pick a little more. But in front here are just a few honorable mentions. Obviously not top 10 because there's not 10 figures here. But we have the Phase 1 Clone Trooper on the new body. I'm pretty sure this came out this year, and he's really nice. Not on the list because there's nothing like that special. It's just another Clone Trooper, and there's a plain white one. But for whatever reason, I just really like this new Phase 1. I think he just looks super clean. The helmet looks awesome. You can remove it for the head sculpt underneath. He comes with a couple blasters. It just looks really clean. I'm really happy with this. If I can get a few more of these for like dirt cheap, I would, to build out a little squad. I wouldn't mind it. Indara here is a pretty nice Jedi figure. I actually just got her pretty recently because she was on sale. I didn't really care to get her at full price. And for the sale price, I think pretty nice. The head sculpt's good. I feel like the face print could have been maybe a little better. Her expression is just pretty like bland. But the Sokka's robe's nice, the articulation's good, the lightsaber's cool. Just a solid Jedi figure. 000 and BT are technically not new figures. They were reissued this year. I was just happy to get them because I missed out on them but when they first came out because they were super hard to get. So happy I can finally acquire them and add them to the collection. And then Deidre, really nice. It's the only female officer figure I have so far. I never got the Tala. And the face print and sculpt is really well done on this one. I think it looks just like her, or pretty close anyways. Accessories are good. She has a blaster pistol and this little data pad, which is cool. Articulate's just fine for an officer figure. There's just other figures I valued more that came out this year, but she's really nice. She'd probably be number 11, honestly. Anyways, that's it for honorable mentions, so now let's go down the top 10. Alright, so kicking off the top 10 with the only other Acolyte figure I did get Master Soul. It's the only one that I wanted to get kind of off the get-go. I was a fan of his character in the show, and I think the figure is pretty good. It has a decent amount of paint apps. The sculpt's nice. I feel like the face print and maybe the head sculpt in general maybe could be a little better. It looks just somewhat like him. I don't think it looks 100%. But the Sokka's robe is nice. He's got his lightsaber, which is cool. Just overall, just like Indara, just a solid Jedi figure. At number 9, we have the new Grand Admiral Thrawn from the Ahsoka series. If there's a new Thrawn figure, it pretty much has to be mentioned or on the list on some way because he's one of my favorite Star Wars characters. And I'm really happy how this figure turned out. He's actually a whole new sculpt, which is super awesome. Something that they went a lot more effort with this figure than TVC did, to say the least. He articulates pretty well, although I could argue his elbows could bend in a little further, but it's pretty good. The head sculpt and face print, I think, looks pretty good, too. I think it looks quite a bit like how he did in the show. I think the only thing, really, is that I wish he had more accessories. He only has his pistol. He could have at least came with a little data pad or whatever that he holds in a good chunk of the scenes he's in, actually. But I am happy that, for the most part, the paint apps are pretty clean on this figure. He just looks really good. And, obviously, as a big Thrawn fan, this is one that was, of course, going to be a favorite of mine for the year. And at number 8, we have the Imperial Armored Commando from Mandalorian Season 3. Really solid figure. This is one of those figures and designs that just translates really well into an action figure. It just looks cool. Armored guy. The armor looks really nice, decent amount of paint apps. Their accessories are good. He's got the new rifle, new pistol that can store in the holster, and the jetpack. Holds both weapons pretty well for the most part. The blaster even has a little bit of silver paint, which is cool. Articulates well. Only real issue for the most part is that I think that the helmet sculpt is just a bit too small. It could have been a little bigger, but overall, I think honestly, really solid figure that's pretty fun to pose. So definitely making my list. At number 7, we have a 2-pack. This is the Walmart exclusive Thrawn's Night Trooper and Captain Enoch 2-pack. Very cool set. The Enoch especially looks real nice. The gold paint's really cool. The head sculpt's awesome. He's got his unique little pistol there. Decent amount of new sculpted bits with the different torso piece and the waist piece and whatnot. A bit hindered in articulation. There's no cuts in the waist skirt thing, so his leg articulation is decently hindered, but still really like how this looks, and he looks awesome with Thrawn. And same with the Night Trooper, as well as really impressed that they actually did a lot of new sculpting. The gold markings, the gold cracks and whatnot aren't just painted detail, but they're actually sculpted detail as well. That's something the TVC figures didn't do, which is fair. That would have been pretty small to sculpt, but here they are sculpted. Most of them are sculpted, so that's really nice as well. I think that's super cool. And these turned out really nice. Honestly, maybe a bit better than I expect them to be. And number 6 is a really recent pickup that I wasn't originally going to bother buying, but I decided to because it did look just kind of too cool. It is the only figure I have so far from Skeleton Crew, but it is Captain Brutus Port Borgo, I think they call it. And this figure is really, really good. Like, surprisingly so. All new sculpt, great articulation, quite a bit of, a lot of sculpted detail, and quite a bit of paint apps as well. Just really cool because he's like a werewolf man, alien man, pirate. Like, not, doesn't get much cooler than that, I guess. The head sculpt is super dope. Looks pretty menacing. And he comes with a bunch of accessories too. He comes with 5 blaster pistols. They're all different unique sculpts, and they all have at least a little bit of paint apps on them, and you can store them all on the 5 holsters on the figure, which I think is super, super cool. So, you know, I think even if you're not a fan of the show or haven't seen the show or whatever yet, it just is a cool Star Wars figure. Just cool alien pirate wolf man guy with a lot of guns. So surprisingly really good release. Now getting to 5, at number 5 we have the Revenge of the Sith Darth Sidious. I was pretty excited for this figure to release. I think it turned out really well. On my review for this guy, I was actually surprised at how kind of 50-50 people were on this. Some people were really happy with it, some people weren't so happy with it. It's definitely not a perfect figure, but I do really like the soft goods robe. I think the plastic hood was the right call. I think the head sculpt and the face print were really well done on this figure. The articulation's nice. He has a lot of reuse. The body is, I guess, reuse of the Book of Boba Fett Luke Skywalker, but I think it works. Like, you're not seeing the body. All the body needed to be was basically a plain black body, and that's what the Book of Boba Fett Luke Skywalker body is, because of the detail, and his outfit is all the soft goods robe. So I think it looks really good. He came with his lightsaber. It's the first time a Black Series Sidious or Palpatine has come with his lightsaber, and also came with interchangeable lightning effects, which was super nice. He does have 2 lightsabers, because I did actually buy 2 of this figure, so I could literally do this, and I have the other one displayed with the lightning on. I don't usually do that, so that speaks some volumes of how much I like this figure. But he did only make number 5. He was on my halfway top 10 of 2024 list from, so, 6 months ago. He's not there anymore, I can tell you that, but still really like this figure. Very happy he got released. And at number 4, we have the new Mando, which came out at the very beginning of this year. I think some people might have got their hands on him early last year. Or I guess, early last year in 2023. And, well, when this video is coming out, it's going to be last year's going to be 2024, but you know what I mean. And this is the upgrade to Mando we've been looking for. The previous Beskar Mandos have been good, but they had some issues, like proportions weren't great, the helmet sculpt didn't look good, the paint, mainly the color of silver, wasn't great. This one fixes a lot of those issues. The proportions are a lot better, the articulation's really nice. The silver paint looks a lot nicer on this figure. The helmet sculpt looks a lot better. I still wouldn't maybe say it's 100%, but it's a lot closer and looks a lot better. Accessories are pretty decent. He's got his pistol you can holster. He came with the Darksaber, and he also has his little vibro blade you can store in his boots, which is basically the only place it's useful because his grip is too wide. He can't really hold it. He has the soft goods cloak, which is nice. I think this figure came with a jetpack. I can't actually remember. I think he did. I'm pretty sure because this figure has the slots on the back. It's just I don't display him with it. But just overall, super solid release. I'm sure we'll see it reissued and reused a ton of times. It already has technically been reissued. There's that Mines of Mandalore version, which for some reason uses the plastic cape. I don't really get it, why they even bothered with that release, but when this was still on the shelf. But really good Mando, and if you're looking for one and don't want to go with imports or anything like that, this is the one to go for sure. And at number 3, we have another Jedi. It is Ki-Adi-Mundi, which I think was in Attack of the Clones packaging. And another prequel Jedi to add to the collection. We're getting a few more in 2025 here with Shakti and Luminara and Duli. But Ki-Adi-Mundi is a big one to cross off the list. They did a really good job with this one. Again, it's an all-new sculpt. It articulates really well. I like how they sculpted the left hand, to, even though it's a gripping hand, to be a bit more like a force gesturing hand as well, which is good. The head sculpt and face print is definitely the most impressive part of this figure. They really killed it with this one. It looks really nice. Yeah, not a whole lot to complain about with this. It's a super, super good figure. I think it's definitely one of their best from this year, for sure. And then at number 2, which honestly could be pretty interchangeable with my number 1, I'm not going to lie. I know this is a lot of people's favorites this year, which for good reason. It is the Super Battle Droid. I know highly requested from fans and collectors for many years now, I think. And again, another release they just killed. I like that they didn't make it a deluxe release. He is a bit bigger than average figures, not by much though, but he's a little taller than them. He does a okay heft too. Articulations really well, especially for the design. I think they executed the articulation really nicely. Looks great. Pretty decent amount of paint apps on it, and the accessories or whatever are really cool too. The blast effect looks awesome. I really would like them to do more blast effects for their figures, and it's a super cool feature that you can remove the chest piece and the head piece to look at the internal circuitry and whatnot, which I do believe is a direct reference to Republic Commando, because in those, when you fight the Super Battle Droids, you can blast off the front armor and it shows the internals and whatnot. Yeah, just a super awesome figure. I was going to get 2 of these guys to flank Count Dooku, but I ended up not having the space on the shelf to do that, so I just decided to save the money instead. But regardless, really, really, really solid figure. Like I said, could easily be my number 1 as well this year. They just did a really good job. And lastly, to end it off, at number 1, not easy to make the decision. Like I said, Super Battle Droid came real close. But I gotta give it to the Phantom Menace Darth Maul. This figure, or this character, obviously he's had a figure since the beginning of the Black Series, but he's been sorely needing an update for a long, long time with his Phantom Menace look. That old figure has not aged well, and even though they like to keep reusing it and whatnot. But we finally got a new mold. The proportions a lot nicer. The articulation way better. The head sculpt's really nice. The lightsaber accessory is much improved from the first one. Yeah, just an absolute joy to pose. Looks incredible. Again, one of my favorite prequel characters, or one of my favorite Star Wars characters in general. And his iconic film outfit just looks super awesome, and I really like it a lot. My only real complaint would be, I think he should have came with more accessories. I know there's other versions. This is the standard release. He also got released in a 3-pack, and he came with his soft goods robe. And then the con exclusive, he had the bike and the droid and some other stuff. I just wish he came with extra hands, honestly. And I think every release should have came with the soft goods robe. I think having the standard release not come with that either is kind of lame. But that's my only complaint with that. Otherwise, I think the figure is really, really nice, and it doesn't want to focus. There we go. But that's pretty much it. That's my top 10 Black Series of 2024. Overall, I think it was still a solid year. Like I said, I think I preferred 2023 over 2024 for Black Series releases. They just released so much good stuff that year. Bastila, Malik, Malagus, other stuff. But this one's still really solid. I'm pretty happy with what came out. And yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. What were some of your guys' favorite Black Series figures of the year? Obviously, this is just my list of my personal favorites, not what's objectively best or anything like that. So I'm interested to hear what your guys' favorites were. But anyways, thanks again, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. May the Force be with you.